Okay, some nice challenging problems today to have to dig our teeth into. So, my age this year is a multiple of 8. Next year will be a multiple of 7. So this year it's a multiple of 8. Next year it'll be a multiple of 7, and obviously I'm just adding 1 year. So let's think about our multiples of 8 first. It might just really help to write those out. Remember, when I'm stuck on a problem, sometimes writing down what I know can just help me find a way in. There's nothing wrong with being stuck as a mathematician. That's what mathematicians do. They are stuck and then they solve a problem. So to our 7s as well, so I need that information. 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. So I'm looking for a multiple of 8 that when I add 1 to it will be a multiple of 7. So 8, 9, 16, 17, 24, 25, 32, 33, 40, 41, 48, 49. Oh yeah, look, 48. If I add 1, I get 49. So I must be 48 this year. Let's just get rid of some of this, get a bit more space. Now, similar problem with the next one. So last year, I was a square number. Remember, a square, like 4 squared, for instance, is 4 times 4, which is 16. So times by itself. I don't know what I am this year. And next year, I'm going to be a cube number. Like 2 cubed, for instance, is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8 times by itself twice. So the difference between the squared number and the cube number needs to be 2. Because I'm adding 1 to this year, and then to next. So last year, to this year, to next year. So I'm adding 2. So again, probably a good thing to do, write out my squared numbers. 1 squared, 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25, 6 times 6 is 36, 7 times 7 is 49, 8 times 8 is 64, 9 times 9 is 81, 10 times 10 is 100. I'm going to stop there, I'm going to do 11 times 11 because I think not many people are going to be much older than 100. Cube numbers, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, 2 cubed is 8, 3 cubed is 27, 4 cubed is 64, 5 cubed is 125. Again, not going to go past that because no one's really going to be older than 125. So, is there a number here that is 2 less than a number here? And I can see pretty quickly, 25 is 2 less than 27. So, this year I must be 26, 25, 26, 27. How much longer must I wait until my age is both a square and a cube number? Well, 64 is a square and a cube. How much longer I need to wait though? I need to subtract my current age. 64 subtract 6 is 58, subtract 20 is 38 years I need to wait. Now, this last problem has lots of parts and lots to think about. So my mum was 27 when I was born. 8 years ago, she was twice as old as I shall be in 5 years' time. How old am I now? Well, there's lots of ways of approaching this. I would probably start, to be honest, by approaching this using a bit of trial and error. So I need a little flow diagram. It can always help. So I'm going to think, so this is the age I am now. If I add 5 years, so in 5 years' time, my mum was then twice as old. So I'm going to add 5 years. I'm then going to times that by 2, which will give me my mum's age. But that is 8 years ago. So mum's going back this way, so I'm going to add 8, which will give me my mum's current age. So my mum, 8 years ago, minus 8 years, she was twice as old as I will be in 5 years. So having set up that flow diagram, I can now start to experiment a bit. And I know that my mum was 27 when I was born. So there's no point, well, if I think about it, my mum, I can't subtract 8 from 27, which would be 19, because when I was 27, my mum was 0. Sorry, when my mum was 27, I was 0 years old, so I can't go back into negative numbers. So in fact, there's also a question of, well, look, I might as well start with 27 add 8. What's 27 add 8? That's 35. So there's no point really in starting with numbers much smaller than that. But if I wanted to do a bit of trial and error, I could say, well, what happens when I'm 5 years old? So if I add 5, then that means in 5 years' time I'll be 10 years old. Double that is 20. Add 8 gives me 28. Well, that doesn't make sense because I know my mum was 27. So let's try adding 8 to this. 27 add 28 gives me 35. Well, 35 subtract 8 is, as we've seen, 27. 27 doesn't divide by 2 straight away, so that doesn't work. So let's try the next year, 36. 36 subtract 8 gives me 28. Divided by 2, I'm going this way, gives me 14. Subtract 5 gives me 9. And that actually does work. So if I'm 9 years old, in 5 years' time, I'll be 14, which is half 28 of 28, which is the age my mum was 8 years ago. And she now, therefore, is 36 years old. So a really tricky problem that, but again, drawing this flow diagram has just helped me, given me a way to write down what I know and given me a way to attack this problem.